That's cool. So you wanna buy a whole apartment building? That's cool. I mean, that's like the cost of a house. It's actually not too bad. So you wanna buy a whole apartment building? The money you're making off your tenants to pay off the apartment. That's cool. I mean, that's like the cost of a house. It's actually not too bad. So you wanna buy a whole apartment building? The money you're making off your tenants to pay off the apartment. That's like the cost of a house. It's actually not too bad. So you wanna buy a whole apartment building? The money you're making off your tenants to pay off. Where you living in? Okay.
Everybody came from Miles,
The apartment. That's cool.
police are on my block every night.
Cool. That's like the whole apartment building. The money making off your tenants to pay off.
Everybody came from Miles. You said
The apartment. That's cool. Cool.
Really? I've not been back since
The
I
whole apartment building. The money making off your tenants to pay off.
Everybody came from Miles. You said
The apartment. That's cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. The whole apartment. The money making off your tenants to pay off. All right, we're just doing this one. Yeah. So, did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? That's cool. Cool. Yeah. The whole apartment. The money making off your tenants to pay off. All right, we're just doing this one. Yeah. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Yeah. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Yeah. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Yeah. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Probably the nearest here. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Probably the nearest here. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Probably the nearest here. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Probably the nearest here. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Probably the nearest here. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average money making off anyone's been working there was like. All right, we're just doing those months maybe. Probably the nearest here. 2 mics. Did they like change anything with RVs or apartment? Do they like have a high employee turnover? Really? Yeah. The whole apartment. Like the average one making off your tenants working in is like. All right, we're just doing no phones, maybe. Two mics. Did they like change anything with RVs? Dude, that's a high employee turnover. Really? Yeah. The average one making off your tenants working in is like. All right, we're just doing no phones, maybe.
Thank you,
Two
Jesus.
mics. Did they like change anything with RVs?
Something funky's going on. We're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing this.
Yeah. The average.
Here we go.
Making off
And
your
this is the
tenant
best part
working
about
in.
YouTube. They
All
record
right,
the
we're just
entire
doing no phones, maybe.
so I can re-download.
Did they like change anything with RVs?
So to test this all out, like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound this microphone. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download.
Did they like change anything with RVs?
So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound this microphone. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download.
Did they like change anything with RVs?
So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound this microphone. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download.
Out
there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound test. Testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick sound testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick testing. See me more. Yeah, we're in the basement somewhere. Here we go. And this is the best part about YouTube. They record.
All right, we're just doing like.
Can you hear that already through there? I can re-download. Out there. So I'm gonna test this all out. Like I said, we're gonna do a
going shredding the slopes, dude. Yeah, dude, hitting the gnar and R tubers, dude. We got all around,
Rev.
dude.
Hells yeah. Nick is saying stuff. He is saying stuff, and he was told to keep going. As soon as Nick... against the wall. What Chicka, 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 1, 2, chicka, chicka. You are now understanding microphone.
Hey yo, we headed to a party to go see what's happening. Been on some rap shit. Hit the freestyle. We going our way. Hit the blunt. Hey yo, shit. Pass that spray. You ain't got no evidence. Man, that shit's making me mad, man.
Saw, dude. But anyway, yeah, so, like, I was on that 72-hour binge snake session, like, after we were hitting the tubers, snow, frozen and liquid. I got so damn the fuck out that I'm just like, I gotta go back in, dude. So we go out, what was it called? The, what's that one dispensary that you can't remember the name of, dude? Double Cross OG Blackwater Dispensary, dude.
The Green Grove.
The Green Grove, that was it, man.
The Green,
So
okay.
we went back, we got another Quantum Wagar, they just had it ready to go, 3-footer and all.
I had to go back, dude.
Tight, dude. I had to go back.
Myself coming down, I was freaking. You know, this is where it starts to get real sad. Like, I just can't handle sober lifestyle, you know. I feel more fucked up when I'm sober.
Yeah, but you still got me on that butter mic, though. Am I still sounding buttery as all hell?
Wow, that's...
Are we live? Are we doing it? Was everyone just subjected to my Quantum Wagar fiasco?
Hey, yo, we headed to a party to go see what's happening. Smoking a lot. We talk some rapping.
Alright. This is why none of these ever have formal intros, because it takes forever to get this shit, like, going. The audio drive, yeah, the cable right there, that one's a little fucked. Right? I think that's the cable. Hold on one second. I'm gonna put this down. Isn't that weird? It's like, it's only, it's only that mic.
So is this... Yo, we on the butter mic. Get ready to churn. You think you can freestyle? I hope you're ready for a burn. Yeah. Sitting on the farm, churning up the butter, talking in it. Never ever stutter. About to morph on these plebs. I was gonna say, I didn't know how long the delay was.
In the past, literally what's that? Listen
a nice
Do you call it getting high on life?
I don't even know. Like, I just get high on weed and shit.
right.
Go ahead. Nick, can you say some stuff?
Yo, Nick's saying some stuff because he's told to, but he doesn't like to conform to authoritative figures.
It's not crack.
Is it crackling? Chicka chicka 1 2 motherfucker.
And
Sounds good, or does it sound buttery?
Butter. This is the butter mic.
I can't believe this isn't butter.
Oh. Is it butter? Or like, actually, can we replace this with like something healthier, like coconut oil? I'm actually a vegan, so yeah, I can't do this.
Butter mics.
if you want to watch it as it happens, you can, because that's exactly what's going out to the internet right now. So you guys can take the latest link that's on my Facebook page and redo that. That'd be tight.
You untagged me, right?
Yeah. Is your mom like?
Yeah.
Hey, yo, we heading to a party to go see what's happening.
And you gotta,
Slither.
you just gotta slip, yeah.
Damn
Just
straight.
go with the flow. Who here wants some coffee? Anybody here want some coffee?
I'll take
You
some
want some
fucking
coffee?
Joe, dude.
All right. All right, I'm gonna start the subject matter. I'm gonna run upstairs to get some shit. I wanna expect you kids to get along. All right? Right? All right.
Yes, Pops.
All right. What's up? Welcome to 440
Pleasant Valley.
Pleasant Valley Media. What's up, dudes? I'm Avery doing weird shit. This is Nick.
Sneezy D.
This is Meg.
Hey.
Stanley.
Peter Griffin.
That was actually pretty impressive there, Stanley. And I'm your gracious host, the organizer of all of this, Eric Fadiga.
God damn it.
No,
Eve Dick.
no. I'm just a sit-in, gonna make some words with my face. So, Avery, you're gonna go do some stuff that's not over here.
I'll introduce the subject matter so people know.
Okay.
WTF is going.
I was actually thinking,
Or do you got it? You
yeah, I got it.
Cool. I'm gonna monitor it upstairs. But yeah, you guys are live, so anything stupid you say
Yeah,
can
yeah.
and probably will be used against you in a court of law.
Cool.
Yeah, we're in a mysterious basement somewhere in Lake County. Ohio.
Somewhere, undisclosed location.
Right.
I was thinking we could just start off nice and easy and talk about on the drive over here. I was thinking about the difference between someone's personal morality and say like a religious morality. Like, you know, like, is it a good idea to track your own morality, or like, you know, what you think is right or wrong based off your own opinion of what you think about that, or, you know, like comparing that to someone who does it through religion, who like reads like a Bible or, you know, some kind of religious text that tells them what they, you know, should interpret as right or wrong. And like, what do you personally do, or like, what are you a good or bad person in your own eyes, or in someone's religious eyes, perhaps?
I'd like to think of myself as a good person in general, but you know, again, when you ask something as broad and as like as serious as that, you know, are you a good person? You have to ask yourself, like, you know, objectively as possible, what is being a good person? Is it whose standards are those based off of? And even if so, you decide that, you know, you want to, those standards are based upon yourself. Are those self standards impacted by a social standard too, an overarching social standard, and, you know, causing you to pick and choose what you makes the qualities of a good person, what makes qualities of a bad person, and how to balance between the two.
So would you say that when you think about, you know, you ask yourself, Nick, am I a good or a bad person, you base that off of your own just preconceptions of what it means to be a good or bad person?
I think the characteristics of what good people portray or act as in a social sense, I think they develop with someone who has a stride to become a good person eventually. And, you know, through your own experiences and through trial and error of your own personal experience, you, like I said, you kind of just, you're able to pick and choose for yourself what you feel in the most clear and broad sense makes a good person.
Okay.
Christ, got me distracted here.
God. My God.
And we're live.
What's going on, Dan?
Nobody knows you exist. You're outside. And then those mics won't pick up what we're saying. So we're getting
Cool. Getting the coffee. Get my brain stimming a little more so I can answer these a little more clearly. So, your main question was, again...
I'm just, asking, like, maybe, is it better to follow your own moral compass, or should people draw inspiration from other people in, what they think is right or wrong?
I think I would like to say that it's typically better to follow your own moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
And ask yourself, what qualities of your own moral compass are highly impacted by external factors, like the type of society you live in, and if so, whatever religious or philosophical ideas you tend to follow.
Because I feel like following your own personal moral compass can be advantageous for yourself, but not on a, like, societal sense. Like, it's maybe not good for people in general, but for you, it can make you happy,
Mm-hmm. And I think that
but
depends.
it kind of leads to, like, deviance in certain people.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, someone will say, like, oh, there's nothing wrong with killing someone, so I'm just going to kill someone,
I think that can be extremely different from on a, like, person-to-person basis. There's a lot of things that go into what makes someone, and with what makes someone, how does that person decide what is moral and what is immoral? Mm-hmm. And that's a tough one, man. Like I said, I think it would be ideal for me personally to follow my own moral compass, and I like to acknowledge that most of the things that I collect for myself and try to apply on a day-to-day basis are extremely affected by the people I see on a day-to-day basis, what I'm told through media, and having an upbringing in such a culturally diverse place like America.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What about you guys? Like, do you follow your own moral compass, or do you draw inspiration from other people's? And if you do, what are some of the qualifications of that moral compass? What kind of guides you in that sense?
I don't know. I think that I would say it's more personal. I think I have to ask myself, I guess, like, who do I want to be, and what do I represent as a person? And then I kind of draw from that, like, who do I want to be, and what kind of qualities do I want people to see in me? And I guess I just go from there. But I do think it's possible to, I guess, like, draw from other people, not in a sense of, like, almost like a religious sense where it's a group activity, because I think when you get into those situations, sometimes, I guess, your moral compass can be almost forced, I think. But I think if you see individuals who are doing things that you admire, then I think that you definitely can aspire to almost be like them or act like them. But I think almost staying true to your own morals and values and who you want to be as an individual.
Okay, actually. While you're explaining that kind of reminded me of, say for instance, I feel like following your own moral compass can be associated with, like, the process of evolution and, like, natural selection. Like, if you are within a, say, like, a religious group, and you follow the same moral compass as all these other people, there's not going to be any diversity in, what kind of morals that you view the world with. So I feel like in that sense, that group is going to be limited in a little bit. But if you introduced something akin of a mutation, in someone's genes, or someone who follows their own moral compass, it creates that diversity and gives way to different like social groups and different ways of thinking about things. Yeah. How about you? Do you have anything to input on that? Like,
Yeah, for me, it's like, I think it's a little bit of both. On the aspect of me, it's like, I don't portray myself to be a bad person. And like you said, for someone to measure whether you're good, you also have to put in the factor of how bad does something have to be to have someone be considered bad.
mm-hmm.
And I was in English class one time, and my professor, Mr. Terry, he had said a lot of things that happen bad to people could either be based on decisions or circumstance. And someone may have to do something bad, not because of a decision, but because of a bad circumstance. And I feel like just because maybe me or other people have made bad decisions doesn't mean that we're bad people. And as far as the religious aspect goes, like, I grew up in church my whole life, and still involved in church, but coming to the, I guess, like we're saying, moral context, inside of me personally, it has nothing to do with me going to church 5 times a week. It has to do with me and my relationship, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. So in a sense, you are kind of still on your own moral compass. It's just more of your interpretation of that religious group. That's really cool, yeah.
May I say something?
Yeah.
You are now tuned into the Pleasant Podcast. We're hoping everybody out there in the cosmos is having a great time. This is the producer and director, Avery. I'm right here. This is your host for today, Eric Fadiga. That is Nick. That's Stanley, in case you guys are just now tuning in. And this is Meg. Thank you, dudes, if you're tuning in to us live via Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or now Instagram. I'm just kind of being obnoxious on Instagram. Hope you guys are enjoying it, just so you know exactly what it is you're looking at. Sorry, I had to put a little tag in there for you. Didn't want to disrupt it, but it seemed like it was a good spot.
That was a good book, by the way. He let me read that book.
Yes. Brief History Time, Stephen Hawking. I actually brought this book today because it ties into some of the topics that we want to go over. We also got some coffee here to keep us going on this long conversation that we're going to be involved in here. Some things we wanted to get into is one of them, namely, is there any kind of existence of multiple universes beyond our own? You've heard people talk about maybe in another life, or maybe in a parallel universe, or if anyone's familiar with multiverse theory. We want to know if there is the existence of really anything else out there beyond the realm of our own foreseeable perception of the world. Me personally, I'm not so sure. It's hard to say. I was reading a little bit earlier about multiverse theory, and it's kind of been said that, it's not a very scientific concept or subject to be talking about because it's non-falsifiable. It's something you can't prove wrong. Yeah, well, you can speculate that there are multiple universes around us, but there's no way to know that there aren't. It's like that classic when, maybe someone who's atheist or agnostic, they describe, like, oh, you can't disprove God any more than you can disprove Santa Claus, you can say whatever you want, and just because you can't disprove it doesn't mean that it's reality. How about you? Do you think that there might be the possibility of some kind of parallel universe out there in another dimension or made up of some kind of antimatter? Is that something that could be possible too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely think that it is definitely possible, and I don't think that you can clearly, I guess, dismiss the idea of it, because we really don't know exactly what is out there. But I mean, part of me feels as though the universe seems too big, and we seem too insignificant for us to be alone and not anyone else out there, I should say.
So you're speculating at the possibility of interdimensional aliens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, who's to say? Like, really,
Exactly.
It's been said that if anybody's familiar with anthropic principle, it basically states that the universe is the way it is because we're here to see it. And this ties into to the theory that there are multiple universes, in the sense that we look at the world around us, the initial conditions of the Big Bang. It's speculated that everything was a hot, dense soup, and it exploded one day and spread out, and everything aligned in the perfect way to create conscious life, to create something that can go back and look into the past and actually view the universe for what it is. Now, those conditions, down to the way that matter is arranged in our universe and the fundamental laws of our universe, seem so unlikely. Like, who would have guessed that these particles randomly ended up at the perfect distance from the sun, and gravity is at the perfect value that it is, and the conditions are all right for something as abstract as intelligent life to come into existence? That seems really unlikely to people. And anthropic principle basically says that it is possible because people believe that there were multiple scenarios in which a universe played out, and in most of those, nothing like human life existed. But simply because we do exist and we're here, that points to, the possibility of one of those universes actually just randomly having the perfect conditions to make people, We are here simply because we are able to know we're here.
Okay. And in terms of the multiverse, do you, personally, or based on fact or speculation, are those multiverses occurring at the same time?
That's hard to say.
Or
if you're thinking about a different universe altogether, there's different way you can look at it, as everything is part of a completely separate universe where there's no information that can be transmitted between those two universes, or that the universe is infinitely large and there's different sectors of matter.
And those multiverses are held within one grand universe?
One grandiverse. And
is that what it's? Is that what the term is?
An omniverse or something. I don't really know, but
okay.
If you want to think about it in terms of time, and you're assuming that there are separate universes, time is a property of the universe that we live in.
Right.
Time can be described as the direction in which entropy flows, the direction in which particles gain more complexity, So if we were looking at a completely separate universe altogether, there's really not a basis of time that we can compare the two with, Time is just a property of the matter and energy in our personal universe
that we can observe.
So it's hard to say.
Okay. Very. I've always been so interested in multiverse theory. It's such a strange concept to wrap my head around.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's something I want to get into and just hop on Wikipedia and try to learn about. But
you see, but that's another thing. There's not a lot of information out there.
Exactly. So the only the most dense information I get talking about it is whenever I hear you going on a tangent about it, and I don't want to use tangent in a negative sense, but I mean, yeah, that's the only time I really
get to talk about it.
Yeah, and I also wish I knew more about it. It's just, some kind of vague concept that's been introduced to me before that, like I said, there's not a lot of information out there. And because, again, like I said, it's non-falsifiable, so people don't really look at it in a serious sense. But there have been, like scientific tests done that do point in the direction of some kind of multiverse theory, but they always kind of err on the side of philosophical,
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
I've heard a lot of talk about within the subject of multiple universes, of parallel universes being carried out, and also I've heard a lot about a universe being carried out and performed that has every single possible outcome of every situation or scenario that could have been, which would, be an astronomical number of universes being played out at one time. And I got to say, every time I've heard about something like that, I've always thought to myself, just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel like that's the one everybody's kind of heard about. Like, oh, there's somewhere in some different universe, there's an exact copy of you, except, they chose to skip class this morning.
Yeah, where one very just tiny minuscule difference happens. Yeah.
What's that?
My twin would have went to class this morning.
Are you saying that you didn't go to class?
My parallel universal self would have gone to class today as well. Hey.
Mine would have gone yesterday. I feel like that kind of makes sense though, because if you think about it, if there were, like, let's say for example, there's an infinite number of different universes in this omniverse. Maybe there's an infinite number of omniverses. Let's not get into that.
Right.
There's an infinite number of universes. So, and let's just say that they operate in like the third dimension, the one we're familiar with, and they operate on similar fundamental laws: gravity, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear force, so on and so forth. Now, if you had an infinite number of universes, there's only a finite number of ways that particles can arrange themselves, right? So, like, if you say there's 5 billion particles in the universe, and you had an infinite number of universes, at some point you would have two universes that are exactly the same.
By accident or just by law?
Pure spontaneity. Okay. They will just, at some point, because you're talking about an infinite value.
Right.
So there's an infinite number of opportunities for those particles to arrange themselves in some certain way. And based off of probability, at some point, they will arrange themselves. There will be two copies. One universe will be the same as the other because they just happen to fall into the same place. So there could be an infinite number of universes exactly like this one, because when you're dealing with infinite numbers, there's no limit. So there could be a universe just like this one, or there could have been one where you went to class yesterday, or one where you're a boy, or one where you're a girl.
I guess this could kind of lead into our next topic, which
there could be a universe governed by robots.
Not that one necessarily. More along the lines of, is the universe planned out? Is it a set? Is it a set of actions and events that are going to take place, and in that set actions of events that are going to take place, do you have a say in what will happen?
So you're talking about free will.
Indeed, yeah. I suppose I kind of stretched that one out.
So, Mags, are you free? Are you no. Are you free to make the choices that you want as a person, or do you think that there is some kind of limiting factor or some kind of predictability behind the choices you make and the things you do with your life?
I have a question though. In what ways, are you trying to say that there is some sort of higher power, or that I'm restrained societally?
Well, think about it this way. some would say that you appeared on this earth
Mm-hmm.
and you have this body and this brain, and you're able to say, okay, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to go over there and smoke a cigarette and do whatever. But if you think about it, you can choose to do that, but the only reason you can do that is because the fundamental laws of the world make it possible to do that. Like, you're able to do that because electrochemical signals are firing in your brain that give you the ability to walk. So it's really about the way that the particles or the cells in your body just interact. Do you have any control over the way that particles interact in your brain that makes you want to do something? Like, do you really, when you want to do something, is that you wanting to do it, or is that just the way the universe unfolds in this big chemical reaction that we're in?
Okay. I don't know. That's very interesting because I know with the brain, it's separated into multiple parts, but specifically you have the conscious and the subconscious, and the subconscious is supposed to be much larger than the conscious, meaning what you actually think and what you actually choose to do. But I think that your subconscious has such a large effect on what's happening, and we really don't know much about the subconscious of the brain, so I suppose that definitely could be a leading factor into what you're saying.
Okay. Well, who's to say your subconscious isn't just a driving force? Your subconscious drives your conscious mind, and who's to say that your subconscious isn't just a product of different chemical reactions?
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think, do I really choose how to live my life? And it's also you can make decisions as a human being. I can decide to go drive my car somewhere and do something, but I'm controlled in the sense that I'm limited by the laws that make up this world. I couldn't stand up and start floating around the room like I want to, but I can't,
Yeah.
And it's said that we are free to choose to do whatever we want, but we're still constrained by the laws that the universe or some kind of creator puts on us,
Okay. I think that definitely is interesting because, you obviously have people who do say, yes, we do have free will. And by saying so, technically you can't do everything, So, I guess that could put an end to this, idea of free will. Oh.
No, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about your ability to do things in your environment?
Yeah, low key.
That, confuses you about that, or doesn't make sense?
It's just I don't know. It's
yeah, it's almost why even bother thinking about it? You're put on this earth, and some people say oh, well, you can't choose to do what you want, but in reality, we're just here, and we can really choose how we want to live our life. So why even bother with that? Why bother about why I can or can't do something? I'm just gonna do what I can.
Yeah, it's
Would you
almost
agree
as
with
if
that?
the argument being made against the idea of free will is just put in place in such a grander scheme of things to prove the idea of free will wrong. You can always just make the argument much larger than sheer decision making. You can always just say, but aren't you just a component of the universe, and can't we all call the universe purely a chemical? If you choose to look at it that way, you can call the universe a chemical reaction that is just unfolding upon itself, and you are just one component of it, and all of the actions and decisions you will ever make could just be classified as a mini reaction within the larger reaction of things. As if everything were just supposed to work out that exact way, even if, me thinking about this working out this way is just part of it. It gets to become a little paradoxical, but at the same time, it does hold some truth and makes sense.
I feel like the conversation of a creator, and even me being a Christian and everything, but regardless of that, I feel like it all comes down to that conscious decision and everything. Because even if you were like full-fledged involved inside of saying, my creator told me to do this or my God told me to do this, at the end of the day, you have that decision to make, to listen to that person. It's kind of like coming out of your parents' womb and she's telling you to go sit down and you decide you're going to walk out the house. You know what I'm saying? Nothing has your mind, chained to the standard ways of doing things, because if that was the case, then we would never evolve. But it takes that one person to step outside of the realm of normal and be
on your own moral compass.
Exactly. Yeah, it all kind of ties back.
You can't choose how you do. You can't choose how you do things, but you can choose what you do and like how to operate within the constraints that are put on you.
Yeah. And going back to the whole moral compass and the idea of evolving, deviation is the one thing that will lead to a change. Things stagnate when they stay the same.
So here's a question. In order for social evolution, there needs to be deviance. Someone needs to go on their own moral code. My question to you, Mags, does a robot have morals? Can a computer deviate from that moral code? And if they can't, then what do you foresee as the evolution of technology?
So I guess with a robot's moral code per se, I think really the way that I see it, like their moral code is just specifically, I guess, the binary code by which they have been created, and really the rules and laws by which they can operate.
It's the same as humans. Robots don't have free will either. They're governed by the programs that we make that we program into them.
One could say in today's age more strictly. There's less wiggle room, I guess I'll put it, for decisions mechanical objects can make. They function just purely based off of what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like strict.
Damn it, the word's escaping me.
I think I know what you're getting at, though.
Yeah, like. Yeah. Let me retake the mic.
Aloha.
Yeah, coming in.
Finally.
First conversation here.
Of the first legitimate. I'm proud. I just want to take a moment to say that we are all here in a interesting place. But anyway, on the topic at hand, does a robot have morals? Right, was the basis of it.
Okay.
I think it comes down to the creator in which, or I think it comes down to what the creator has put into such a machine, right? Because depending on how you view it, it's a tool. A gun is a tool. I'm thinking about getting my concealed carry license because I don't want somebody to rob me for this equipment, right?
Right.
But at the same time, if I were to blow a gasket and then just, get really vicious, and people would be like, oh, well, he's a mass murderer, They're like, well, does the gun have anything to really say about it? No, because the gun's it's a tool. Same thing with an axe, things like that. Now, of course, then that's where it splits off and gets very philosophical. It's like, well, are humans machines? Are we just biological machines that could have been created by some other higher deity or entity out there?
Right, much like a computer. We have organic programming that makes up the way our minds work, And
Exactly.
we kind of play God when we are creating some kind of artificial intelligence.
Right. So if like say because this was a large question I had as to why I would like to put off artificial intelligence. Like I've actually thought about going back to school purely for programming. Because in a weird way, I feel like I would try to be like that Will Smith to like save the world in a weird way. Yeah, it's like some iRobot stuff. But yeah, because there's gonna be a day where someone's gonna. It's inevitable. Like a human consciousness and a machine consciousness will become one. So now we have a different like race of conscious deities around each other, right?
That's
so
just a given.
Right. So there's gonna be a point where these deities are given trust in a moral compass. Yeah. What happens if, just like in the movie I, Robot or I Am Legend or whatever, what if they think for themselves but do something that we would consider immoral. So there's a burning building, right? There's a mother and her 2 children. The robot only saves 1 child because, statistically speaking, and it made all these calculations, that 1 child had a higher probability of living anyways. So might as well just save that child, right? Now that sounds terrible, but then would the person that created that program be the one at fault there? It's almost a question that I don't. There's a point to where I don't even think this question can be answered properly, because it can almost create a paradoxical loop. So it's like, as you guys already know, like I'm kind of well versed with computers, but like let's say we are machines made by a higher deity, right? But then we decide to create Sims, or like Grand Theft Auto, right? Because we want that escapism, right? But who's to say that Grand Theft Auto, when you turn the game off, isn't in a way its own conscious creation that is now aware of itself and creates mini games inside of itself? So I truly think that, like, when it comes down to it, it's like in this weird fractal multiverse that we live in.
Okay.
It's like a hallway, a series of doors and mirrors. Depending on the route that you take will determine what happens. For me to kind of segue that into the whole robot question,
or multiverse,
or multiverse, or the multiverse question. I'm trying to cover the topics because I just jumping around. I had to make sure this is all totally working.
Right.
You know? Tying into that anyway, in a very interesting way, I kind of came to the conclusion that as weird as this sounds, God damn it. Give me 1 second. The audio's still going. It's just the camera. Give me one.
Or the battery die?
Yeah. And now, this is good, though, because now I know all the problems whenever I go out to do this again. I have a cable snake, so we don't have to worry about passing the cables, and I get a bigger battery and whatnot. But hold on. The audio's still streaming. In case you guys are just now tuning in, you are listening to the Pleasant Podcast in the basement. Soon to be watching. Yeah, I got to change the battery. Sorry. Hold on 1 second.
I mean, I just wanted to say, so you talked about, I guess, deviance, like with robots and everything, and how that could lead to evolution.
Same with people, too, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, are they really deviants? Because I think the word deviant really carries a negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with robots, it'd just be, I mean, you have it all the time. You have robots where they have, like, errors or whatever. But, I mean, are they really bad robots? Or are they just, like, the beginning of evolution?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, huh. Can a robot deviate?
Are you asking about robots in today's age, or
It was just future artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
so artificially intelligent robots performing actions that they're not programmed to do? That's what you're getting at?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can always have errors. I don't know how those errors come up, but I think they definitely can happen.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You know, like, and I wonder if a robot were to deviate from its code, would it know that that's happening? Like,
Exactly.
I suppose, you know, like, it has to come down with, like, does a robot have the capability to defy its code, or does it just happen by some kind of technical glitch? Which is interesting. It's a point I wanted to bring up earlier. I feel like, you know, if you design an artificial intelligence, you kind of ask yourself, like, is it really artificially is it really conscious, you know, or does it just interpret information in a way similar to how we do? And I feel like a really big factor that could kind of determine that is, say you build a computer program that has the attributes of a conscious being. I mean, imagine what something like that could do. Like, I feel like an artificial intelligence can be truly self-conscious when it's able to analyze the programming and algorithms that make up the way it works in its own consciousness and change them. You know, maybe that's the true robot deviance, the ability to change their coding, you know, and make it something new. And that's kind of scary because that opens up infinite possibilities for what an artificial intelligence can't understand and do, and that's something that humans will never be able to do.
I think what we're getting at here is just instead of changing codes, it's thought.
Exactly. Yeah. Once it's
the
able,
ability to change its mind.
Exactly. Once it's able to truly look at itself in a very introspective way and realize, like, I am just these codes that I'm interpreting right now, and I can change them to change what I am.
Right.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's exactly what defines artificial intelligence. A machine that is able to perform cognitive functions of, learning, problem solving. So when you have a machine that is already able to learn and to, for example, to beat the best chess player on the planet,
Yep.
It is kind of scary to think that they could grow and perform things and if you want to use the term think in a way that humans will never be able to comprehend or understand or defeat.
Right. I kind of have a question on that too, and then I'll repeat that theory before the camera went off. In terms of knowing you're made up of code, or knowing that you're just nothing but metal and like hydraulics, by the time they're able to realize what they are, chances are they're probably going to look a lot like us anyway. You know what I mean? Some sort of like synthetic skin or something. But by the time that they are able to realize that, what will be the biggest deciding factor is that they know who their creators are. Mm-hmm. We don't know who our creator is, which is what creates the biggest problem. That's why we're even having this talk in the first place.
It seems to fundamentally limit humans.
Yeah. If we knew where we came from, chances are we'd be in a different position right now. But these sentient beings know they exist. They know what humans are capable of, and then the biggest thing will be once they realize what they can actually do. That's where the true morality kicks in. If you are brought into a realm of existence and it's like Frankenstein, right? Nobody ever talked about what Frankenstein actually thought. They just talked about what happened. I would like to know, or write a book potentially, or a novel on, if you are brought into this realm of existence, you're able to overcome your creator for personal gain, if there is such a thing as personal gain, if not just occupying time. Would you do it? So it's like, say some robot comes to the conclusion, it's like, destroy all humans and take over the universe. Well, why would you do that? That would be the question that I would ask the robot. It's like, okay, hold on your lasers, man. All right, I see what you're doing. I respect it. You can zap me, but I want one good answer. Why? That's cool. Yeah, we created you. You're angry for whatever reason, but like taking stupid humans off of a rock that's incredibly irrelevant due to the rest of the universe based on its position. Okay, why? Because clearly we can't do much anyway. So it would be like a child. I think at that point, even if it was vastly intelligent, I think they would then worship us in a weird way.
Would we be viewed like, since it is, it's factually known that we are a creator, that humans would be the creator of artificial intelligence?
Right.
Would we be viewed as some sort of parental or even omnipotent figure?
Oh, and to that other point before the stupid camera cut off, the sort of conclusion I came with the universe question was, in any particular situation, even the situation that we are currently in which Stanley has left, that has altered the ending of this podcast, right? But not only has it altered the end of this podcast as a group, everyone's perception of this podcast has now changed. I think when you think about the universe, in a weird way, the universe doesn't revolve around you. That's on the physical sense. But in a almost all too literal sense, it does, right? Because we were skating earlier. People that were watching at home, we all skateboard and do stuff around the community, just whatever. So we were skateboarding earlier. I chose to not wear my contacts. Therefore, we did a trick, and I broke my glasses, right? Me breaking my glasses
could have been perceived as a sign for me to slow down on today because there's a concert on Saturday, right? Or to slow down on today because if I kept pushing it, I might have broken something. There's already another major time where I messed up my ankle because I wasn't feeling it and I pushed it anyway, right? But who's to say that the universe actually wanted that to happen, or if that's just a sequence of events, right? As a long-term veteran of Linux and fluent Python programmer guy that chose not to go to school for it, I'm doing this. I can tell you that, like, seriously, like, after a while, the codes that you start to implement and, like, start to run seriously start to, like, repeat themselves. In a way, I kind of jokingly told somebody, I was like, I can kind of manipulate events. If you truly, like, meditate a lot, I'm a firm believer that you can choose your own destiny. Literally. So yeah, oh man, I want to fly, and you jump off a cliff and you die. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? If you wanted to fly, the Wright brothers knew they wanted to fly. Maybe not in the same sense that other people would have thought of it. Like, there was a guy in Paris, you have Wikipedia open. There was some dude in Paris that strapped wings to himself, jumped off the Eiffel Tower, and died. And everyone in town saw it.
He tried, though.
Because nobody at the time knew the outcome, right? Nobody knew until he smacked into the ground. Nobody knows how AI will act, right? Exactly. Until it's actually acting upon things. I think everybody, just like everything else, everything will be okay until something goes wrong. For law enforcement, everything's okay until there's something nobody agrees with. Because until we tackle our own genuine issues and problems, we should not, I repeat, we should not try to create another conscious entity. Because it's like why would you create something like, you know, in the Bible, right? Think of the Bible as a owner's manual. Man was created in God's image. Imagine if we are God creating machines in our own image. We have a hell of a lot of flaws, man. All right? Like, I'm not nobody here is perfect at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody here is perfect. So why would you try to make something in your image that's just as wrongful as you? So, like, if this machine goes out and kills people, you have no one to blame but yourself. Like I said, it's almost an open-ended sort of thing.
It is. Yeah. But yeah, it is kind of ironic that humans, such flawed beings, are striving to make something that is, in a sense, just perfect, ideal. They like the whole point of working toward a artificial intelligent life form, if you want to use the term life, is to make something that can perform in a similar sense to humans.
Can I say something else?
Yeah.
Can I, one of these. Another thing too is, what's the functionality? Okay, because Google, in an interesting way, uses algorithms and kind of has low-level intelligence. You know what I mean? And they actually had to adjust the code in Google for great global events that would happen, such as terrorism or like racial protests or whatever. Because Google, as we all know too, if you're shopping, like a very, very simple one, if you're shopping, right? Say I wanted to get a new mixer because this thing is trash. The only thing I will see on the sides of my web browser, even if I'm viewing a skateboard video, is nothing but mixers. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
it adjusts your search and what you see, right? So it's not just, are you going to create a new entity? What are you trusting that entity to do? If you're trusting an entity to create new codes to get into a hospital, that's okay. I'm okay with that, you know, because it's not in charge of like NATO missiles, you know what I mean? It's not in charge of giving people insulin. It's one machine used to come up with codes at a certain time so then the proper people can get in. That's it. If it has a function that basic, chances are it will never mathematically, in this case even, it will never mathematically have the wherewithal to even perceive the idea to go against who created it, because that's all it knows. You know, you feel what I'm saying? So like, and like I think the biggest issue with this is once someone tries to implement, and what everybody's freaking out about, and once you start talking about artificial intelligence, once this thing is being implemented as a tool of war, that's when there's a problem. That is where there's a major problem. That's where everyone needs to just chill. Okay, we need to talk. Yeah, just sit. Yeah, it's like you sit on the curb. You sit on the fucking curb. And listen, all right. It's the same thing with nuclear bombs. Because like that's a in a weird way we are talking to robots. But
Hello?
but like holy balls.
Sit on the curb.
Yeah. Thank you. Because when it comes down to it, well, once again, we are imperfect beings and entities, and we have many flaws and things like that. If the robot repeats after us, that creates more issues. Oh yeah, the nukes. Yeah, if there's like the Cold War, that was terrible. You know what I mean? When nuclear bombs were first theorized, it was for infinite energy. I feel personally, I'm not saying all humans, I'm saying myself here, Avery, in this basement somewhere in Willoughby, that nuclear fission is a great idea. That's how stars exist. You know what I mean? If you can harness that, or make a Dyson sphere, if people know what a Dyson sphere is out there, you can Google it. It's a device used to capture all the energy around a star. It's not one solid object. It's usually made up of panels that are set around the full circumference of a star to capture it. Now, in the unlikely event that you don't have a Dyson sphere, because that's unfathomably large, especially on a human scale, you know, you can fit 100 million. What is it, like 100? A lot of Earths inside of our sun, and our sun's very small, right? So once again, if you can harness that energy of this large thing somewhere in the UK, you know what I mean, on their Hadron Collider, and they are able to figure this whole thing out, it's like, that's fantastic. That's cool. That's something that man or whatever entity can benefit from. The second you like, hey man, I don't like what you said about my people, I'm going to literally remove you from the map. Yeah. Not even from the map, from the table the map sits on. Because that's what a nuclear bomb does. You can't even fly over parts of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and the place that just recently melted down. Yeah. Chernobyl, right. Because you have screwed with it so hard. By the time it is safe to walk around there, chances are humans won't even exist because we're so stupid we'd blow each other up. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like in the realm of like right in the realm of using artificial intelligence literally as a tool of war. Like say we replaced not nuclear missiles, but just like leagues of the Air Force with artificial intelligence, which I think would be a terrible idea. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully somebody out there has a brain, right? Because where there's a brain, there's a blame. And when there is no blame, everyone kind of loses in that game. Bars. But I'm being so serious, though. When there is a definitive scapegoat, that helps everyone out. In Vietnam, we knew in Vietnam, that's why that kind of sucked, because we didn't know who the enemy was. When Columbus came over, it was hard to fight off the Native Americans because they knew their stuff, and they weren't stupid. They were very smart, very tactile. They hid, you know. But the point is that once you know who the enemy is, life becomes easier. When the enemy starts looking like you, life becomes harder. Once you even know that there is a enemy, some of the relief is gone. But once again, if we all wake up tomorrow and find out that Los Angeles is gone because some program glitched for whatever reason, and genuinely no one can explain it, everyone's just going to lose it. Everyone's just totally going to lose it. It's way easier for us to blame it on like an act of terrorism or some rogue programmer that didn't get his raise. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sorry. I get in the tangents, and I finally got a seat here.
No, like I think what you're like trying to say is like super interesting. But I guess it just like brings to mind. I guess like so artificial. So artificial intelligence, I guess, versus humans. I think you also have to question what sort of reasoning they would both operate on, because humans obviously operate on like an emotional level, where robots would most likely operate on a more logical level, and it really has and you really have to question I guess whether operating on a logical level or whether operating on an emotional level would be more beneficial either way. But I think they both have their pros and cons, obviously.
Yeah, of course, everyone ideally would say, that we have to find a balance between that.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, we started getting off on a pretty crazy tangent there. No need for apologies there. I was going to say we should maybe try to back it up and like get to like the real like point and goals that the transhumanistic society is looking to achieve. What we're looking for with artificial intelligence and with technological singularity being reached is achieving a more ideal quality of life and re-implementing and at least trying to perfect social and political systems through the use of technology. I think we're going to achieve an age where humans are compatible with computer hardware and applying technology into organic bodies. Like for example, I was talking to Eric earlier about a realistic example of what a transhumanistic era would be able to achieve in people who suffer with like Alzheimer's and stuff. In a day where we're able to eventually, upload our consciousness and save them on some sort of cloud in which we can just constantly back up our entire consciousness. When people eventually get to an age where dementia starts to kick in, they start having episodes in which their neurons aren't working correctly. They start forgetting certain things. Someone forgets how to get home from somewhere because they're having some dementia episode. They would be able, people would be able to, I don't know exactly how it would work, but carry around some sort of trigger in which they press it and it backs up to their most recent, conscious upload to the cloud.
Yeah. And I think that's just such a useful aspect of this. And I think that would be extremely beneficial. But I think one of the questions to ask down the road, I don't know what life will be like however many years from now. But we just live in not only a country, but just a world of great socioeconomic inequality. And I think one factor that needs to be considered is the fact of who would be able to afford this? Who would be able to obtain these types of things?
Yeah, that's always something to consider.
And you also have to consider the fact that we live in a country, we live in like a technological country, but then you also have other countries that are still in, I guess, like an industrial sort of development. China.
We're talking about reaching a day and age in which these things are, even reasonable to consider, but there's still countries that can't even afford food. There's still countries who are like functioning on a tribal level. There are still fucking tribes out there who walk around naked hunting in the woods. Yeah. And we're talking about fucking uploading our consciousness to some sort of fucking cloud. I don't even it's such an abstract
But so would we have to achieve, I guess, like an overall like socioeconomic balance and a cultural balance before we could achieve this, or would we achieve this before the other?
That is one of the aims I've at least read about when it comes to transhumanism, is that they would plan to use these technological advancements to strive for equality amongst everybody. Of course, that's crazy idealistic. You know? Of course, that's what everyone wants. Yeah. But that is one of the main goals, is just improving the overall quality in life on a global scale. Yeah. Do you have something to say? I saw you make a few.
Yeah. Nick, you mentioned earlier about the ability for, say, someone with a mental disorder to almost take a like snapshot of the whatever electric or like binary code. Like, you know, I suppose if we wanted to upload our consciousness onto some kind of cloud medium, we would have to be able to electronically break down whatever code is behind the way our brain perceives information, right? And to upload that information to a database that we can access later.
Yeah.
But I feel like in order to do that, or at least in order to recall a previous snapshot of, you know, cognitive bearing, you know, you mentioned someone with Alzheimer's. They're having an episode with their mental disorder, and they would be able to go back onto that mainframe and recall the way that their brain used to work, and they could implement that into their brain again. Well, I feel like the reason for that mental episode is a hardware problem with your brain itself, so you wouldn't be able to recall that previous way of, you know, perceiving your environment if you didn't have some kind of artificial biological hardware that serves as a medium for you to download that information. You know, you would need to replace your brain altogether with something that is actually functioning
the fact
properly.
That it's like an organic malfunction, right? That's what you're getting at?
Sorry?
You're getting at the fact that like Alzheimer's is like it's a physical and
it's a hardware problem. Yeah, we have to traverse the biological fence, or so to speak. You know, we got to take the step into H plus neo-humanism, dude.
Dude. And that's something that transhumanism works for, is being able to create like artificial neurons. You know, like you can see with the path that technology is heading toward. Our, you know, like our fucking iPhone is it fits in our pocket, and it has more power than the supercomputers that took to send people to the moon 40-something years ago, 50, whatever, however many years ago. And with the path that it's taking, soon we're going to be able to have computers the size of blood cells, and, you know, even get smaller to the neural size. And another goal is to create artificial neurons that could be fired in, or you could almost do like, I don't know how to exactly word it, but fucking fill your brain up with
You know, it kind of occurs. It's kind of been occurring to me at this point. Why even have a body? Why? Fuck it, dude. My body's only held me back. I'm serious. I'm serious. My body has only held me back. It's this little locomotive that carries my brain around that can randomly, sporadically fail and cause my brain to stop functioning. Why not just upload my mind into some mainframe and live out my life as a computer system? And I'll have little like camera eyes set up around my house and be able to check stuff out. And then maybe I can just upload my info into the mobile CPU unit.
And who's to say that we wouldn't all just be in some sort of mainframe?
The Matrix.
Boom! We are in a simulation. We wouldn't be. We would not
All
be
right,
functioning.
this is actually really close. No, very close, because I was thinking about it too. Like, I don't do psychedelics, but I know a lot of people that do psychedelics, right? Okay, and people that do ayahuasca, right? And they talk about, and they he's got the vape. Hey, get the BMX spikes. I'm kidding. Okay. But yeah, in terms of it being like sort of a global consciousness, so to speak, would that not also be what death is? Because your pineal gland, in a weird way, is that bridge between the two. People that trip super hard, or people that are very good at lucid dreaming, regardless of how you say it, people that have had experience in the subconscious, have been told that they feel this large feeling of oneness and love and happiness. Yes, like astral projecting is what Meg said, for people that didn't hear. No, it's cool. But you see what you see what I'm getting at? Like, right. It's just your body. For anybody that's been put under, and you wake up while they're doing surgery, like on your mouth for root canal or like
I don't know if you had to do that for chemo. Did you wake up at all when they were operating?
I mean, I definitely like had to go under, and I was
Okay.
being induced with like ketamine. So
I
I was
gotcha.
definitely
Right.
scraping hard
Right.
throughout some procedures.
But yeah,
what are you getting at?
But
I'm having a hard time following.
but yeah, while people are under, people do report it's just like I just exist, and that was the problem that I've told a lot of people lately. It's like for a long time I just feel like I exist in a very literal and metaphorical sense. So yes, we are here in the basement of a certain place in Willoughby, but I don't feel my feet, and I don't feel my hands, and I can't feel myself breathing. I know I'm breathing, and I know I'm sentient, and I know I'm here, but I can only look around. So even when people go into sleep paralysis, they have these same things. They don't know what's going on, and then they start to have night terrors. Only once your thoughts become negative, that central consciousness goes with it. Once they think that their thoughts go in the wrong direction, they say that they see demons or aliens in their house, and they don't know how to do it. They just can't handle it. These are typically people that don't have good control over their consciousness. So what I'm getting at is that maybe we already live in such a
Simulation.
Yes, it's quite actually, yes. It might not be as tactile, it might not be pipes and screws and bolts and rivets and steampunk stuff, it's not aesthetically pleasing, but it's made up of blood cells, blood cells, white and red blood cells and whatnot, and flesh and skin and bone. That is what replaces the plastics and the metals. And the biggest part about this, the biggest relationship, in my honest opinion, between humans and machines, regardless, is the presence of electricity. In my honest opinion, once again, I think electricity is consciousness, literally. Like, electricity is God.
It's what powers it.
Yeah.
It's what makes so many functions possible.
Exactly. Without the fundamental existence of two opposing forces, electricity itself would not exist. You can't have too much good and you can't have too much bad, which is why I wrote down in this paper if people saw it, if people were watching. Having improving quality of life, and then I put, is that then communism? Because you'd have way too much, in a sense, of one of those two sides, right? I feel like if we did have a global consciousness that was governed by a artificial intelligence or a dictator, right, some sort of outside influence, because we're kind of all on the same page that we are not alone in the universe. But by the time that we reach this level of all being on the same page, there is going to be a force that challenges that. Whether it's right or wrong is besides the point, because it's up to the observer who thinks that, well, actually, I think humans are pretty stupid. Yeah, they're working together, and they're, like, being good for whatever reason, and they're, like, saving their planet. That's so stupid. Let's just overthrow them. Right? That will happen.
Alien life coming to Earth and overthrowing the soon-to-be
already extinct. Simulated. Right.
Community.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. But like what the basis of it is that we are already in this simulation. Just because you don't see metal and skin and bolts does not mean that we're not already machines. We all already are in sort of this thing, which is why I was thinking we probably live. God damn it, camera. Well, you guys are just gonna listen to it. I'm pretty sure that we are just like 98% positive we are living within fractals. Every universe has a black hole in the center of it, and nobody knows where the black hole goes. We came from a Big Bang. Nobody, for the life of us, can figure out where that Big Bang came from. It wouldn't be that hard to put two and two together, and I know nothing of true quantum physics. I'm only a theoretical physicist by hobby. You know what I mean? An amateur IT guy. I suppose, yeah, I suppose. He said that my quantum is slightly more theoretical, and that is true. But yeah, that's just sort of something to swallow as well. It's like, yeah, what if we do create this global consciousness? What if they do know that they exist? Well, why do they even need bodies? Well, then, just look in the mirror real quick. Why do we even have bodies?
What were you referring to before? Why does what have bodies?
Why do humans even have bodies? Because when we go to sleep, we can do anything. There are no rules. We are not governed by the laws of physics
Maybe
or
it's
morality.
to make us feel as though we are real. and that we're physical.
In a weird. Oh, let me swap the battery. Here you go.
And also, like, on what,
Just some stuff.
we tend to define a consciousness as the way that the neurons in our brain interact. Like, a body is necessary for us to perceive things simply because, we need that hardware. We need the medium in which information can flow through our biological system, so we can perceive things.
I don't know. I think it's just completely off topic. Not really, but but I think when considering all of this, and if this all is a simulation, are we here for a greater purpose? And I don't necessarily know if we're here for a greater purpose. What if it's for means of simply entertainment? Because, I mean, if you look at our world, like, it's pretty fucking entertaining. Like, look at the selection.
If you were real quick, if you were a programmer, seriously, like if you were a dude that's super bored, right, and you decide to create the first Sims in your basement, I would totally invite my friends over and be like, yo, dude, so apparently this asshole became their president, and I'm about to just let them do this and this. Let's see if they survive. You guys down? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then your friend's like, what's the name of the game? Oh, life. It's not called sport. It's called life. Shit happens. Bad shit happens and good shit happens. But yeah, I kind of have to agree. In all, it is mildly entertaining. Because when you think about why you got here, this is going to sound kind of bleak, but you're just a sperm cell. There were so many other people that had the chance to be here, and you made it here.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to make this life worth it?
I don't know. I think some people have like a rough time kind of wrapping all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct to be narcissistic, I would say.
Yeah.
And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct.
But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. Beyond. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
But I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
But I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
But I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I mean, a like greater purpose. I would say. And people feel like they're special and like they have some sort of like purpose.
I think
all this around their head, because I think it's just almost a human instinct. But I
I'm